This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's John Penny. I'm welcome you to another sports catastrophe birthday boy. Actually, no, it's a birthday girl. Anyway, this woman was an icon of the Grand Slam singles in the 1990s, early 90s, before an unfortunate incident ruined her life. She's 48 years old now. She was born in Yugoslavia. Now she's an American citizen. She's represented Yugoslavia and U.S. at major events. She's won 9 Grand Slam singles titles, 8 of them as a Yugoslav national, and then the final one representing the United States. She was a former number 1. She was an icon, the youngest ever French Open champion at age 16. And she won 8 titles before her 20th birthday and looked good, but then stupidly some idiot decided to stab her in the back with a 9-inch knife. Seles didn't come back for 2 years, but won the 96 Australian Open. So anyway, she had lots of potential and all that. So Seles and her brother would move from Yugoslavia to the United States to the Nick Bottarelli Tennis Academy. So anyway, she turned pro February 1989 at age 15, which was weird. She actually, in her first Grand Slam singles tournament, she actually ended up being a semifinalist, losing to Steffi Graf, which was amazing. She was ranked number 6 in the world after that. So that's kind of weird in a sense. But Seles in 1990 was just getting started. She had a 36-match winning streak. She won the 1990 French Open, beating Steffi Graf in the final, and won in straight sets, becoming the youngest singles champion, French Open champion in 16 years, 6 months. She unfortunately lost the quarterfinals to Sina Garrison at Wimbledon. Seles actually had a match point, but Garrison won 9-7 in the third set. Garrison would go on to be in the finals against Martina Navratilova, and Sina Garrison was the second black female to get to Wimbledon final. So she was ranked number 2. 91, she really dominated. She won the Australian Open, beating Jana Novotná in the final. She was now the new number 1 in the world. She won the French Open title over Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. She couldn't play at Wimbledon because of shin splints, so she had to take a 6-week break. Something to do with tibia. A lot of people thought she was chicken for not playing at Wimbledon in 91, even though that she should have. She won the U.S. Open over Martina Navratilova. It was weird that she had her weirdness that she didn't play at Wimbledon, but she was hurt. I mean, you can't blame her for that. Although she could have had the Grand Slam like Steffi Graf did in 1989. 92 was equally dominant. She won the Aussie, French Open, and U.S. Open. Unfortunately, she didn't win Wimbledon. She actually went to the final and lost to Graf. But Seles had a lot of attention because of her grunting when hitting shots. And her grunting got a lot of opponents angry at her, especially when she got to the final. From January 91 to February 93, she won 22 titles and actually reached the finals in all but one tournament she played in, which was amazing. All that. She was 55-1 in Grand Slam tournaments. She could have been better if she was at Wimbledon and probably won that one. She was unstoppable. She was basically becoming. She probably would have broken Margaret Smith Court's record for most Grand Slams. Unfortunately, things looked bad. Although in 93 she did win the Australian Open over Graf. She looked good, and She was looking hot to trot, if you will. In the quarterfinals, April 30th of 1993, of course, April 30th would be well known for more for hockey in that way. But anyway, she was facing Magdalena Malieva of Bulgaria in the quarters of the Hamburg match. Seles was looking good. An obsessed Steffi Graf fan named Günter Parsch ran from the middle of the crowd to the edge of the court during the break rooms and stabbed Seles with a boning knife between her shoulder blades to a depth of 1.5 inches. She was taken to the hospital. Her physical injuries took a few weeks to heal. She couldn't come back to tennis for 2 years. And there was speculation that the attack was politically motivated because Seles was from Yugoslavia. However, the German authorities said that her attacker was confused and mentally disturbed. And of course, Parsch did tell police that he intended to injure Seles so that Graf could be the #1 player again. Obsession is just not good. Parsch was charged through the violent incident, spent 6 months in pre-trial detention. He was psychologically abnormal and was sentenced to 2 years probation and psychological treatment. However, the level of security at tour events would be increased heavily because of this incident. At that year's Wimbledon, the players' seats were positioned with their backs to the umpire's chair rather than the spectators. And Seles thinks that the effectiveness of his measures didn't work out. Seles vowed never to play tennis in Germany again because of the German legal system. So anyway, Monica Seles was not that good. In fact, the WTA suggested that Seles' #1 ranking be preserved during her absence, but didn't do so. A lot of people actually opposed the idea of all that. Anyway, Seles would actually have depression, anxiety, and an eating disorder as a result of the attack. Seles would become a U.S. citizen in 1994 and returned to the tour in 95. And the WTA made Seles joint #1 with Steffi Graf for the time being. Her first tournament was the 95 Canadian Open, and she beat Amanda Coetzer in the final. And it was amazing what she had done. Seles got to the final of the 95 U.S. Open, defeating Anke Huber, Jana Fonafana, and Conchita Martinez, but Graf would take her out in the final. However, Seles was not dead in the water. She won the Australian Open in 96, beating Huber in the final. Seles just couldn't recapture her best form. I mean, that freaking stabbing ruined her and all that. Seles did get to the U.S. Open finals, but lost to Graf again in 96. Seles' last Grand Slam final was at the French Open in 98, a few weeks after the death of her father from cancer. She would lose to Alexa Sanchez-Fajardo. She was still a fixture in the WTA's top 10, finishing her last full year on tour in 2002, #7. Came to the quarterfinals at each Grand Slam tournament. That was good. Seles would take an Olympic bronze in singles. She lost to Venus Williams, who eventually won gold, but she did beat Jelena Dokic. And Seles went up the U.S. won 3 Fed Cups, basically the female equivalent to the male's Davis Cup for national titles. Seles would go on a hiatus, but retired Valentine's Day 2008. She was ranked as the #19 tennis player of all time in 2012, male or female. She had a great height of her career. From the 90 French Open to the 93 Australian Open, she won 8 out of 11 Grand Slams. Amazing. Seles did not lose an Australian Open match until 1999 when she lost to Martina Hingis, and she was 33-0, which was amazing. It was the longest undisputed streak at the Australian Open in the Open era. In the professionalism era, Margaret Smith Court had won 38 straight matches from 60 to 68. And Seles was the first female player to win her first 6 Grand Slam singles finals. And she was the first female since Hilda Sperling in 1937 to win the women's title 3 straight years at the French Open. But Justine Anne Arden did that too, from 05 to 07. It was amazing and all that. She was a legend. But the worst part was that, that stabbing just ruined her and all that. People can understand that. As I said, she was born and raised in Novi Sad, Yugoslavia, now called Serbia, to a Hungarian family. She was an American citizen in 1994 and got Hungarian citizenship in 2007. She's married to a businessman who's 32 years older than her. In fact, Monica Seles was part of a Seinfeld episode in 94. The one, I think it was the lip reader. Is that they talk about Monica Seles coming back to the U.S. Open after her stabbing and all that. But that didn't materialize. So yeah, she was 9-4 in Grand Slam finals, winning 4 Aussie Open titles, 3 French Open titles, and 2 U.S. Opens, but never Wimbledon. That ticked me off. I mean, I wish she was a Wimbledon champion, but I guess not. Here's the record she did have. Winning the Australian Open in her first attempt, which actually tied Virginia, becoming the second person to do that. The other person, Virginia Wade. The Australian Open, winning 3 straight titles. Only Margaret Court, Yvonne Gougelon, Stephanie Graf, and Martina Hingis did that. She won 3 straight French Opens, 90, 91, 92. The only other person who's done that is Justine Anne in the Open era of tennis. That's the 1960s onwards. The youngest ever champion of the French Open still. And she's one of 7 players to reach all 4 Grand Slam finals in a calendar year, doing it in 92. Margaret Court, Chris Evert, Martina Navratilova, Steffi Graf, Martina Hingis, and Justine Anne. That. You should have a crush on Justine Anne, I think. But anyway, Monica Seles, as I said, great tennis player, but the worst part is her stabbing ruined her. She would probably be better than Serena Williams. Just saying. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.